Io guardo là. Welcome to everyone to the event Management and Valorization of Waste and Waters and Environmental Regeneration, the role played by Italy in the Mediterranean area. The event is organized by Ecomondo Key Energy. I am Emanuele Bonpan, I'm going to be the moderator of this morning session. But before we start, I would like to launch a video to explain what is Ecomondo. Please. And welcome back. And many of us just came from Ecomondo directly here in Sharm el-Sheikh for COP27. We have here with us Alessandra Stolfi, the Global Exhibition Director. So Ecomondo is not just an Italian exhibition, it's a global exhibition. Why it is so? And who are the actors that comes and visit and play in Ecomondo?
Good morning to everybody and welcome, and thank you first of all to our prestigious panelist speaker. We have joined the initiative today. It's a great pleasure first of all to be part of the Mediterranean Pavilions as partner of the Union for the Mediterranean in the first hour experience at COP27. Let me spend just a few words about Italian Exhibition Group, which is one of the most relevant player organizer of exhibition in Europe, not only in Italy. We have our fair also in the Middle East, in China, in Mexico, in Canada, and in Brazil. And today we mention our flagship event on environmental protection and renewable energy, Ecomondo and Key Energy. As you told before, Ecomondo is the key event in Europe and in the Mediterranean for technology and industrial innovation in the green and circular economy sector, and bring together in a single platform all the sector that support the ecological transition: waste and resources, bioeconomy, water monitoring, regeneration of soil and hydrogeological risk. We conclude few days ago the 25th edition of Ecomondo in Rimini. And the feature of Ecomondo is that it represents a platform, a community, which own its uniqueness to be a virtuous mix of business and exhibition, institutional relation, and at the highest level, from the European Commission to the Ministry of the Environmental and Energy Security to all the national and international associations involved. So during these 4 days, our scientific committee organized more than 1,000 conferences, debate, meeting, discussion forum on future technological trends on circular economy. So Ecomondo offers also training opportunities, educational and information for professionals, but also dedicated to the younger generation. This is a very important focus for us. So we are in this contest of COP27 to give a clear and strong message of how Italy can contribute to the achievement of climate change mitigation goals through the use of clean technology that are already available. And today we offer a spectrum of this technology in this conference. So thank you very much to our speakers again and to you, Emanuele.
Thank you so much to Alessandra Stolfi. In fact, the circular economy in Glasgow and now in COP27 here in Sharm el-Sheikh is becoming very, very relevant when we talk about how to decarbonize the industry sector, because it can play critical roles to decrease emission when we recycle, when we reuse, when we properly manage key resources like waste and water and many other materials. Water as well was one of the key topics in Ecomondo, which I found also a lot of similarities between the side events here at COP and side events of Ecomondo, so a place where you can really bring forward thought-provoking discussion. And I would like to start with one of the first topics here today, sustainable management of water resources. Sorry? Ah, ok, non c'è collegamento. Okay, so we are expecting for our next guest, so I will move to Professor Fabrizio Passerini, talking about another resources, waste management. So we will hear soon the state-of-the-art, the innovation in the Italian context that can inspire the Mediterranean territories. Please, Professor Passerini, the floor is yours.
Is it okay? Okay. Thank you, Emanuele, for your nice introduction. Yes, my name is Fabrizio Passerini. I work for the University of Bologna and I am a member of the scientific committee of Ecomondo Fair. I will talk about waste management and the connection also with the topics of this conference, I mean the climate change. We can start by saying that in Europe the new Circular Economy Action Plan has been approved, requiring even more stringent targets than those that were presented by the European Commission. And it has many different steps of application. Some of them are new proposals, some other are mandatory separate collection plans, actions regarding particularly bio-waste, textiles, hazardous waste, and also plastic bottles, reaching targets that are provided by the timeline that is showed here. If we look at the solid waste generation in Europe, we can observe that there are many differences among countries, but in general we have an increasing trend from 2010 to 2018. About 5% or 7% according to the estimates, but in general we can say that the European 27 countries is not on track to meet its policy goal of reducing waste generation, and this is a problem. If we look at the management of this solid waste in Europe, we can again observe many different geographic differences. Particularly, there are many countries already relying on the landfill, others that rely on incineration plants, and only a few that are quite good in recycling and in the composting. And if we look, first of all, at the carbon footprint related to the waste management sector, we can see that 130 megatons of CO2 is emitted if relating to the waste management. Let's keep in mind this figure, and particularly that about 60 kilograms of CO2 equivalents are emitted per ton of waste, solid waste managed. Here the situation in Italy. We have a more or less decreasing trend in generation of waste. This is only municipal solid waste that reaches about 29 million tons per year. Also in this case with geographic differences, considering the different regions in Italy. But if we look at the solid waste generation from economic activities, we have to multiply by 5 times the same amount of municipal solid waste, because we reach 147 more or less million tons of solid waste that is generated every year. When we look at the waste management, the municipal solid waste for about 20% is still landfilled, and this is a problem, because the new targets at the European level say that we have to reach no more than 10% of waste that is landfilled. We can observe 20% of waste landfilled, about 18% of waste incinerated, and if we look at the recycling or composting and anaerobic digestion, we reach more or less 50%. It is better if we look at the industrial waste, because in this sense we reach more or less 70% of material recovery, and this is a good score also compared to the average score in European countries. Is there a nexus between waste management and greenhouse gas emission? Yes, it is repeated many times, even in the last directive, the 851 of 2018 of the European Union. Many times they say that by managing well our solid waste, we can reduce with a significant amount the total annual greenhouse gas emissions. But how? May we quantify this reduction of CO2 emissions? First of all, what is the emission of CO2 per kilowatt hour generated in Italy by the Italian energy mix? We know that the Italian energy mix has different sources, not only renewable sources, unfortunately, but also fossil fuel. And in general, we have this score, about 260 grams of CO2 per kilowatt hour of energy produced. So, if we think about the waste management, where can we work if we wanted to reduce or save CO2 emissions? First of all, we can try to recover energy from our waste. And in particular, we know that we have waste-to-energy plants in Italy that per each ton of municipal solid waste are able to recover 0.8 megawatt hours of electricity. If we could consider also the 20% that nowadays goes to landfill, we could produce overall 9.5 terawatt hours annually at a national level, and this would save about 2.5 megatons of CO2 if produced by the Italian energy mix. But another favorable sector in which high savings could be obtained is biowaste treatment, particularly if we integrate anaerobic digestion and the aerobic transformation to obtain both biogas and fertilizer, a compost. In this way, in Italy, there are many plants that are able to produce 0.12 megawatt hours of electricity per ton of waste. This, if reported on a national level, could provide 1.2 terawatt hours of electricity that correspond to a saving of 0.3 megaton of CO2 emitted if produced by Italian energy mix. But again, this does not consider also the large amounts of organic waste from agro-industrial activities and other kinds of sectors. But again, I think that higher benefits could come from recycling, particularly if we consider both household and industrial waste Italy turned out to be the European country with the highest share of recycling, 83%. And this, according to some estimation in Italy, led to an overall emission saving of 63 megatons of CO2. And finally, prevention could be the most probably virtuous activity if we wanted to save CO2 emissions by properly dealing with waste, particularly avoiding the still edible food waste generation. We could avoid about 3.5 megatons of CO2. And finally, considering that we are producing a lot of waste in general, about 180 million tons per waste, we must keep in mind that each ton of waste could generate 60 kilograms of CO2 equivalents. So avoiding 1 ton of waste, we could avoid this emission. Okay, so I am at the conclusion. Waste management can play a crucial role in reducing greenhouse gas emissions in Europe, and in Italy in particular. Although good performances in solid waste recycling have been already achieved, improvements in waste prevention and the proper treatment of solid waste will result in emission savings in order of magnitude of megaton of CO2, only by considering Italian situation. In Italy, to divert solid waste from landfill and to manage it properly, according to national estimates that have been recently discussed at Ecomondo International Fair, at least 30 new industrial plants to treat around 5.9 megaton of waste would be necessary to meet the European goals. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much. Thank you to Professor Passarini from the University of Bologna. Indeed, there are great potential also for the other Mediterranean countries that, of course, can not only recover materials for their industry, for their growing industry, but as well they can account these greenhouse gas savings in their NDC. So it's definitely a CO2 reduction strategy. I know that online right now there is Professor Francesco Fatone from the Marche Polytechnic University, is connected from Italy. Welcome. So from here we want to know from you want to hear about sustainable management of water resources and services. That, of course, it can be both a strategy to recover water, material, and as well as saving energy. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and thanks for your invitation. I'm sorry not being there with you due to family issues. I'm going to share the screen. Okay, you should see my full screen now, right? Do you see my full screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So thanks again. My name is Francesco Fatone, and I am a member of the Scientific Technical Committee of Ecomondo, where I am sub-coordinating the water area. And within this context, we are interfacing a lot at the global level with the International Water Association and also with Water Europe, where Mediterranean Basin is one of the major focus. So let's start from what is water within the SDG framework. Water is not only the SDG number 6, but the transversal impact of water is one of the major one that we have in this framework. So this is making the actions on water more and more important and multidisciplinary. To demonstrate this multidisciplinary, if we analyze the topic that was addressed in the World Water Day, that is every year on 22 March, we can see that water is addressed from the wastewater side, so from the circular economy side, from the nature-based side, 2018, from the social side, so the social importance of water, leaving no one behind, 2019. In 2020, the point was water and climate change, but then the overall value of water and groundwater. So only from the topic we can understand how it's important to look at water from different perspectives and why. Because when we talk about water, we have to think about the nexus approach. Why? The more we produce water, the more we need energy. The more we produce energy, the more we need water, not only for hydroelectricity, but this interaction is of course very much related to food production, to agriculture. If we think about the increased food demand that is expected by 2030, we can see how this interconnection will be more and more drastic. And it's important to think about water, energy, food nexus in the context of climate change, of greenhouse gas emission. So an action on water will interface with the action on the other pillars. That's why this transversal importance of water is very crucial. If we go more in detail into the nexus approach, here we can see actually how energy that is declined into the bioenergy, hydroenergy, geothermal energy will anyway interface with water. And this is, of course, going to impact on irrigation, food production, but also on the ecosystemic value of water. So that's why this is highly relevant, especially in the Mediterranean basin. Why? Because the climate change impact in the Mediterranean basin will be, and is already quite harsh. And the impact that we will have about this interconnection is even more relevant compared to other areas of the world. So in Ecomondo, we have a quite stable partnership with Water Europe, for example. And when we think about innovation to address these challenges, we have mainly three bullet points: water scarcity, pollution of water, and adaptation of climate change and extreme events. We can summarize about too much water, too scarce water, too polluted water. And the objective that we have within Water Europe and within Ecomondo is to have finally a water smart society. So to have the true value of water that is then addressing the water scarcity, for example, alternative water sources, within a circular economy and sustainable approach to create a society infrastructure that is more resilient against climate change, against extreme events, and will involve and engage all relevant stakeholders. Again, because water is one of the most important public goods, public need. So stakeholders and citizens have to be involved. How innovation can promote and can address these challenges? Well, we can have four main innovation areas. The first one is multiple water. What do we mean for multiple water? Use the right water for the right use. So it's not only wastewater treatment and reuse, but it's understanding which quality of water we need for different uses, for irrigation, for drinking water, for washing cars and pavements, for industrial water, and have the right source of water in order to optimize also the production of this water. So considering this integrated approach. And how to do that? Well, we have to take advantage of digitalization. Nowadays, we have a huge amount of data coming from water infrastructure, from water resources, from water services, and this can provide decision support to optimize this integrated system. Thanks to this interaction between water quality, water quantity, and digitalization, we can really understand the value of water. But finally, we have also to think about resiliency. And for the resilience, we have to consider the interaction and hybridization of green and grey infrastructure to have nature-based solution that can really complement the territorial approach that we can have to water management. Well, a lot of actions and activities have been implemented in Mediterranean, also research projects such as PRIMA, that is focusing a lot on water in agriculture, in urban environment. And one of the initiatives that was carried out addressing water scarcity in the Mediterranean was the water scarcity from EIT. And here you can see the white paper that has clearly highlighted the challenges about water pollution, about circular economy that is not widespread enough. We have to think that the potential water reuse, for example, in Italy and in other countries in the Mediterranean area, is much below the potential. But also, we don't have enough digitalization. Data sometimes are available, but are not validated. And we have a mismatch between water demand and supply. And finally, the governance. The governance of water is too much fragmented. And the financial schemes to tackle water scarcity are affected by this fragmented governance. So we have also highlighted the solution in terms of finance for cost recovery, in terms of nature-based solution, in terms of technologies, but still all of these have to go towards one water direction. In terms of policy recommendation, it's important to understand the full value of water. Endocrine. So to use also sustainability assessment to understand the impact that water action will have on the food sector. And thanks to this, we can really improve water quantity, water quality. What can we do with water today? Well, if we analyze the circular economy side of water, today we can recover materials, we can recover fuels, we can recover electric and heat energy. But finally, technologies are there, but the social, legal, and organizational level is the major challenge. Nowadays, we still are struggling to handle the water use because we have to address very much the risk-based approach. And this is included in the recent European directive. It is also included within the Mediterranean area, within the discussion that we are having in our international projects. So to overcome the non-technological barriers, risk-based approach is a major challenge. And this is an example of how we can, for example, improve water use. Here you can see the quantity of water that is used. And for example, Italy has a very low quantity compared to the potential. Why? Because there was a lot of attention paid to possible risks, but risks have not been analyzed by a scientific method. Now we have a new regulation in Europe, and we are also addressing this new regulation with other European and Mediterranean countries to have an harmonization also at Mediterranean level outside Europe, where risk-based approach can really promote water use by addressing health and environmental risk, so as to have a circular approach when this is safe. So safe water is a keyword.
You have 1 minute.
Yes, but finally, all this is within the context of decarbonization. And now the challenge is climate smart utility, decarbonization of water sector. A lot of utilities are working in this direction. And in fact, this is done by the utilities that now can have data from digitalization to plan their activities. A lot of projects, a lot of international projects are coordinated, are led by Italians. And here you can see some of these examples. I will conclude with two of them. One is Hydrusa, that is demonstrating in Mediterranean island nature-based solution to close loops, to have circular economy, ecotourism in Mediterranean island. And this is done at demo scale in order to be then ready for replication. But finally, the risk-based approach is addressed also concerning the emerging contaminants. So it's important when we do circular economy, when we do water use, to see the fate and destiny of possible toxic and emerging contaminants, to be sure that these are not then accumulating to the environment and of course into the human bodies. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to Professor Francesco Fatone. Clearly water has a great potential. Today here is in COP is Biodiversity Day. It's a day we connect COP27 with COP15, the conference of parties that will take place in December about biodiversity. And when we talk about circular economy, the bio part of it, the bio-circular economy play a very critical role when we talk about nature-based solution, about to reuse bio-waste and how that can have an impact on one side on biodiversity conservation and on the other side on decarbonization. Now we have with us Professor Dr. Fabio Fava from the University of Bologna and as well chair of the Scientific Committee of Ecomondo that will deliver a speech on bioeconomy. Please, the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for the introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you and thank you for being here. Well, I will integrate the picture and in line with the Green Deal priorities, yes, we have to work in order to reduce emissions. The talks that we listened so far are mostly addressed on this. But this is not enough. We need to regenerate the environment, restore, regenerate soil, water, marine systems. We need to do that because those are making biomass from which anything else is coming from. We need to, of course, reduce the impact on those systems, so reduce pollutions, etc. And we need to use in a more sustainable way the biomass coming from that. But the regeneration is a crucial priority on which we will work on a lot during the coming years. And we are doing this also at Ecomondo level. These are priorities already identified by the European Bioeconomy Strategy that has been reinforced and approved very recently. These are few weeks ago, we met in Brussels, we approved, we improved the bioeconomy strategy, but the same priorities, regeneration, restoration, are also in the bioeconomy strategies elaborated by the 10 European member states that have already a strategy in place. Among them, we have Italy, which launched a bioeconomy strategy at national level in 2019, 2021, the implementation action plan, but that are now under implementation thanks to a coordination board established at the Presidency of Council of Ministers in Rome, mobilizing 5 different ministries, all the 20 regions that we have in the country, but also other prominent institutes, along with, very relevant, the national technology clusters on bio-based sector, agri-food and blue growth domains. And the Commission is launched in the frame of Horizon Europe, dedicated missions on restoration, regeneration. One is on soil, the setup of living labs and lighthouses on different areas to reduce desertification, preserve organic matter into the soil, stop soil sealing, reduce soil pollution and enhance restoration, prevent erosion, soil biodiversity boosting, and again, global footprint on soil, and in particular literacy, so engagement of actors. The mission on soil, launched by the European Commission, is allocating money for sustaining missing actions in research and innovation, but mostly in sharing, engaging the society, engaging the actors, so real-life sites, co-creating with actors on place, but but also monitoring data. We need to have data and make them available. The JRC launched the European Soil Observatory and communication engagement with citizens, with the actors. On the blue domain, restore ocean and water by 2030. This is the other mission dealing with soil and, in water and marine system. So protect and restore marine freshwater ecosystem biodiversity, but also prevent the limited pollution in our ocean, seas and water. And then make also the blue sector more circular. And on this, the mission launched a specific initiative for the Mediterranean Sea, addressed to reduce by 30% pollution due to plastics, but also 50% nutrients, and also 50% of the impact due to chemical pesticides. Italy here will play a role by coordinating the lighthouse that will be launched in the Mediterranean Sea, with the idea to really bring all actors together for reducing the pollution in that area. And this through a digital, interactive, multi-actor ecosystem that will be on place, mobilizing all the major actors on place. The idea here is that the Commission, UFM, will be with the coordinator, together with BlueMed, WestMed, EUSER, all the major initiatives run in the area, but for working deeply and closely with the major association of industries responsible for pollution in the area. But please join us. The Commission is open the opportunity to join what they are putting on place. So there is the mission charter. It's easy to join. You can enter the website and do it. The advantages are here. You can have many advantages. You can be very active part of this transition that we need to put on place. Ecomondo did this year an interesting work with the European Commission at the local level, at the national level, with all the actors that joined us. We present all these activities, we discuss all these activities with the private sector, public sector, institutions, and also the citizens, the young citizens that we had this year, all together with, of course, a global view. Together with the European Commission, you see many activities related to the mission oceans, but also the other dealing with the mission soil. And we also discussed with some actors here, prominent actors here, how we can mitigate the impact already coming from the textile industry in the marine systems. So I also take advantage for thanking all the actors are here. So this is what has been done this year. We will proceed the next years. We need, of course, all your support for this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to Professor Fabio Fava, indeed, for his sharing of the information on the bioeconomy in Europe that really can play a critical role both for biodiversity and decarbonization. We're actually running on good time, so we have now 3 cases from Italian companies that will showcase how they're doing with the water management, waste to energy, and bioeconomy. The first one is Andrea Giannotti, that should be connected from Novamont, is the International Media Relation. Hi Andrea, I see you already on the screen. Welcome to COP27. Floor is yours.
My presentation. We'll do that gladly. Let me first greet all the other guests, Professor Fava, who I met recently, and the audience, and Alessandra Stolfi. I will start with a very short description of what Novamont does. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, now we can.
Okay, perfect. So, first of all, Novamont is a global market leader in the production and manufacturing and the development of bioplastics and biochemical, and is very proud to be a certified B Corporation since 2020. The business areas Novamont is involved with are compostable polyesters, renewable biochemicals, farming, and organic waste management. The main applications produced by Novamont are in the following sectors: grocery, food and vegetable and waste bags, food packaging, mulch, bioherbicides, and biolubricants. So in 2021, Novavont's turnover reached 415 million turnover, circa. The company has a workforce of 650 people, is present in 35 countries, has a production capacity overall of 200,000 tons. It invests in research and development, 5% of its revenues, and it owns 1,400 patents. The mission of the company overall is to protect soil, water, and air, meaning to come up with turnkey solutions to achieve these goals. So these are the pillars of Novamont's bioeconomy model. Novamont is basically trying to re-industrialize no longer competitive sites with the aim of regenerating these sites and revitalize let's say the chemical industry in Italy. Basically, this leads to the creation of biorefineries that are integrated with the local area and interconnected with each other. The second pillar is integrated agricultural value chain and bio-waste reuse. Basically, Novamont develops low-impact value chains through the valorization of marginal land. the final pillar is products conceived as solutions. I was saying that basically the company aims to design a product that can provide a turnkey, unique, and sustainable solution for very specific problems. Let's analyze now the issue of soil. Soil, as we all know, is a non-renewable resource. 25% of land is at high or very high risk of desertification in Southern Europe. Cropland soils is losing carbon at a rate of 0.5% per year. The costs associated with soil degradation in the EU exceed 50 billion euros per year. Let me spend a few words about the integrated agricultural value chain of Novamont. Novamont is focusing on, let's say, refining homogeneous dry crops, in particular cardoon and sunflower, that require very low water input, the ability to regenerate organic carbon in soil.
Sorry, apparently we have problem in hearing you. If you can just go to the conclusion, thanks. Sorry, I think we're losing connection with you because we can't hear you. Thank you so much.
Okay. If I can just say a few more words about dry farming, which is a technology that has been developed by Novamont through the use of mulch film, biodegradable in soil, and on the other hand, through the development of a bioherbicide called pelargonic acid, which is non-toxic and is perfect for organic farming. We have staged a project with Philip Morris for the use of mulch film in the tobacco industry, which led to the following results. Mulch crops grew 2 weeks early. Plants showed a very interesting accumulation of dry matter of 30% plus. We could see an excellent control of weeds in post-transplantation phase, and the withering volumes were reduced by 4%, and the use of nitrogen fertilizers by 25%. Thank you very much. And sorry if the connection was not great.
Thank you so much. Well, a copper connection is not always super effective, but thank you so much for being with us. Instead, here we have with us the Davide Scaglione, Purification Sector Manager of Gruppo CAP, a leading Italian utility that is active around the city of Milano. Please, Davide, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much to everybody. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for the invitation. I'm the wastewater manager in Gruppo CAP. Gruppo CAP is the completely public-owned operator in the water cycle in the Milan area. We served approximately 2.5 million of citizens. Just few numbers. Me, I'm dealing with the wastewater treatment. So we have 40 wastewater treatment plants. We operate the water, the sewage, and since we started in 2017 a master plan on circular economy. We have our sustainability plan toward 2033. So it's nice to have for us long-term plans, and we have 3 pillars: attentive, resilient, innovative. I'm focused today with just few examples related to convert and changing the paradigm for the wastewater treatment plant that can be really resource recovery plant, as well explained by Professor Fatone. So we have goals to short and long term to reduce our waste production, to recover different kind of resources to recover water and water reuse. Of course, other topic is related to resilience, green-based solution, and digitalization. These just few words, so closing the circle, protecting the resources, toward a smart future, and create a digital company. So it's really a mix of action, because it's possible, and there are really already present some technologies and instruments to face these goals, all related to the carbon footprint. We measured our carbon footprint, so with direct and indirect emission. And the idea to convert the wastewater treatment plant in biorefineries is something concrete, because we have some plant where we can recover sand. So with the end of waste authorization, we use this sand recovered from wastewater treatment plant for the pipe construction. We recover fertilizer. We have a pilot plant to recover cellulose. This is one of the most known project in Milan, Bresso. We have the first biomethane production plant connected to the national grid. That's started in 2019. So it's the first one, just with the sewage sludge. We produce biomethane and we put in the national grid. So we are also converting all our cars, and we use part of this for to fuel our cars. And of course, we have a greater plan only in the metropolitan area to use the existing assets. Because there is existing digester, for example, it's possible to integrate some organic waste to produce more biomethane, and to be really in industrial symbiosis with the territory and with the area around our plant. Other topic, water reuse. We have partner of Digital Water City, European project. We are really, at the moment, we are using water to use for irrigation, but also for industrial use. We recover nutrient, we produce compost. Can you see the picture of the sand? We are producing organic chemical, volatile fatty acids, and we are partner of a circular biocarbon project in San Giovanni to produce with a demonstration plant bioplastic. Of course, digitalization is a key point, as well as the data and the monitoring for performance analysis. And in the industrial symbiosis way, we have one other project. Of course, we can be in symbiosis also with industry, but also with agricultural sector. The last project, the last focus I present you is the biopiattaforma in Sesto San Giovanni. Is related to bio-waste, organic waste, because we are starting right here the collection of organic waste in this plant. That is an old waste-to-energy plant in incinerator already that we are converting, because it's beside our wastewater treatment plant, to an integrated bio platform with one line collecting bio-waste and producing biomethane and compost, fertilizer, and another one to treat thermally our sewage sludge, a part of this sludge that cannot go to agriculture, and converting it to heat, because we are connected to the district heating, and also we are starting to recover the phosphorus from the ashes. So I finished.
Thank you so
very
much. Thank you to Davide Scaglione. I think we have already connected our last guest, Antonio Battistini from Meyer Technimont, VP Group Research Innovation Development at Nextchem, is the Chief Technology Officer. Dr. Battistini, welcome. Welcome to COP27.
Good morning. Thank you for the invitation and sorry for not being there in person, though it's an honor to be part of this panel and to share our experience as a group. So I can try to share my screen as well. Let me see, I'm not an IT expert, but I'll do my best. Let's see what happens. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, we can.
Let me try to put it on presentation mode. I think now I should see it. Well, so, introducing Meyer Technimont group. First of all, so Meyer Technimont is it's a global large company which is including several different companies within the umbrella of the group itself, of which historically a large part, like Technimont, KT, are essentially excellence in the world of the engineering, procurement, and construction. So bringing really to industrialization and the reality, a lot of technologies in the historical petrochemical and oil and gas refining world, with Stamicarbon being an example of excellence in the production of fertilizers, primarily based on nitrogen derivatives like urea, ammonia, and nitric acid. In the evolution of the chemistry in this energy transition, in this green acceleration, the group of Meyer Technimont decided to start a new venture, which is called Nextchem, which is really the leading unit within the group responsible to lead this green chemistry and this energy transition, and to accelerate our success into this greening of the chemical operations on a global basis. So we, as Nextchem, are really the front-end technology company of the group, which is developing, integrating, and industrializing technologies, primarily focused on green chemistries and energy transition. So our strategy will really revolve on materializing and integrating different and differentiated disruptive, hopefully, technologies in 4 major product clusters. So in the development of sustainable polymers, in the development of sustainable fuels and chemicals, in the development of sustainable hydrogen and circular carbon solution, and of course, building on the umbrella of Stamicarbon, also the development of sustainable nitrogen solution. So the efforts in the sustainable polymers, and particularly in the sustainable fuels and chemicals, primarily revolves around the utilization of waste and the upcycling of waste. So when we look at sustainable polymers, we are primarily trying to focus on 2 areas. One is on the mechanical recycling of the polymers, with realities within the group, with a dedicated company called My Replast, which is really accelerating the collection of solid plastic waste at consumer level, sorting them out and upgrading them into value-added compounded solution to rejuvenate, let's say, the use of the same polymers in multiple markets, with improved properties, even respect to the virgin materials from which those polymers are coming. We are investing in chemical recycling opportunities, so the opportunity of regenerating and breaking down the chain of the polymers back to the singular monomer units, and reintegrate those monomers into the production of the virgin materials from which they're coming from. So we have a long portfolio of research and development ongoing into these directions, which we believe is going to be probably the most elegant way of recycling plastics of tomorrow. On the other side, we are also looking at developing polymers with similar to what some of my colleagues were discussing in the first part of the panel, which are on one side enabling the cost-effective manufacturing of biodegradable and compostable polymers, even if originally based, even starting from fossil-based resources, so addressing the urgent issue of contamination of the oceans and the soils by leftovers, let's say, coming from different markets. And we are working on making become these same classes of polymers green, in the sense that the starting materials from which these biodegradable and compostable polymers are manufactured will be enabled by renewable sources.
You have 1 minute.
Excuse me?
You have 1 minute left.
Yes, instead, on the areas of sustainable fuels and chemicals, as you probably heard and read very well, we are trying to valorize waste in general, and through processes of gasification of waste, municipal waste, forestry, and agricultural waste, transform those syngas that can be produced into renewable and sustainable fuels and chemicals of different types. So this is our journey in a nutshell. And if you have any question, of course, we will be very happy
Thank you so much.
to answer.
Thank you so much to Antonio Battistini from Maire Tecnimont. Sadly, here the time schedule is very tight, and there is an event coming up in 1 minute. So I want to thank all our speakers today. Of course, Ecomondo Key Energy for hosting this very interesting discussion. I invite everyone is here who is following online to look what is Ecomondo and to join this great network of enterprises, professionals, and specialists. Thank you so much for being with us today, and have a nice COP27.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Group photo.